Hello guys, welcome to the channel H2O, the A to Z of chemistry. To make the study of inorganic chemistry very easy for you people, we are going to give you today quick easy tricks, and the topic for today is going to be group 18, that is the noble gases. And from the group 18, what is going to be the most important thing is to remember all the reactions of xenon and the xenon compounds. So today I'm going to give you tricks to master all these reactions of xenon and xenon compounds, which you can remember very easily till the end of your examination, and therefore it will help you score a lot. Similarly, I'm going to give you today a trick for all the structures of xenon compounds. So this is going to be in total the learning of the group 18 noble gases very beautifully, very easily, and this is going to be very important therefore for the JEE and the NEET examination. So let us begin the learning quickly. So trick number one for today's lecture is going to be in the form of a question, and the question is that you have to tell the charge on PtCl6 species in O2 PtCl6 and XePtCl6. So here the trick is going to be to remember the relationship between xenon and O2. Okay, and this relationship, this comes from the introduction to the xenon compounds, how the first compound of xenon was made. So let us quickly revise that concept because that is very important for your examination. Okay, so it was in March 1962 that Neil Bartlett prepared a red compound which is formulated as O2 plus PtF6 negative. Okay, so he made a red color compound which is O2 plus PtF6 negative, and while he was jotting down what all he had prepared, how the reaction took place, he realized that the first ionization enthalpy of molecular oxygen is 1175 kilojoule per mole, which was almost identical to that of xenon, which is 1170 kilojoules per mole. Okay, so he found that the first ionization enthalpy of molecular oxygen, not oxygen atom, but O2. Okay, so the ionization enthalpy of O2, removing one electron from O2, is just as much similar to removing one electron from xenon. So therefore, he thought if O2PtF6 can be formed, then XePtF6 can also be formed, and he was successful in making again Xe plus PtF6 negative by mixing PtF6 and xenon, and another red colored compound was made. Okay, so both they are red color compounds, both are formed by losing one electron from oxygen molecule and one electron from xenon atom. Okay, so this is the relation. So now you have to tell the charge on PtCl6 and O2 PtCl6 and XePtCl6. So it is going to be essentially just like PtF6. Okay, so what is going to be it? Well, we have O2 PtCl6 to be O2 plus PtCl6 negative, that is plus 1 charge on oxygen molecule and minus 1 on PtCl6 negative. Similarly, we will be having in XePtCl6 also. Xe plus PtCl6 negative, therefore plus 1 charge on xenon and minus 1 charge on PtCl6. Okay, so this is how you are going to remember this, the relationship between xenon and oxygen molecule. So the next trick we have is now that once the xenon compound, first compound was made, there were so many compounds of xenon formed, and the so many compounds of xenon formed were either with oxygen or fluorine because they were the most electronegative elements, and xenon, being a noble gas, generally not reactive, was only combining with these most electronegative elements. So we have the reactions of xenon with fluorine, and here the trick is that you have to remember the ratio in which xenon and fluorine they combine. Lesser is going to be the amount of fluorine, lesser is going to be the fluorine in the xenon compound. What do I mean by that is that we have the first reaction where the xenon is combining with F2 and xenon is in excess and fluorine is less. For example, we take xenon and fluorine is 2:1 ratio. So the compound that we will be getting is XeF2. If we increase the amount of fluorine, for example, we take the ratio as 1:5. Now xenon is less and fluorine is more. So in the molecule formed also you will be seeing that fluorine is more. Now it is XeF2, it has moved up to XeF4. And if we increase this ratio further to 1:20, well, you will be seeing the compound that is formed is XeF6. Okay, so when xenon is in its excess, 2:1 ratio, XeF2. When fluorine moves more in excess, 1:5, it becomes XeF4. And when it is going to be 1:20, XeF6 will be formed. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Okay. Next, we move on to now trick number 3. So the trick number 3 that we have is for the hydrolysis of the fluorides of xenon. So it is going to be the reaction of all these 3 fluorides of xenon with water. Okay, so XeF2 plus water, XeF4 plus water, and XeF6 plus water. What are going to be the products? And these hydrolysis reactions of xenon fluorides is very frequently asked in the examination. So it is very, very important for you people. Okay, and this we are going to learn in the form of a very interesting story so that you can remember the story and the products also. Okay, so first of all, let us look at reaction number 1. Reaction number 1 is of xenon difluoride XeF2 with water. Okay, so what is seen over here is, just see over here, we have a bond between xenon and fluorine. Here in water, we have a bond between hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, so one fine day, hydrogen is not finding interesting to keep his bond with oxygen, so he breaks it. He breaks it and he develops a friendship with fluorine, and they develop a bond between themselves. So when hydrogen and fluorine, they form a bond, what is going to be the product formed? It is going to be HF. Okay, and when they have formed a bond, obviously this bond has broken. So what is going to be left behind is oxygen. So one product will be oxygen, and here fluorine has also broken its bond with xenon. So what is left behind? Xenon. Okay, so what are the 3 products? Hydrogen and fluorine breaking their bonds, forming a bond between themselves is HF. Left behind is oxygen and xenon. So these are the 3 products that we have. Okay, now the next thing is we have XeF4. What is difference between XeF2 and XeF4? The amount of fluorine has increased. Okay, so just understand this, that as the amount of fluorine has increased, the bond between hydrogen and fluorine, this has flourished. This has become more strong. And when it has become more strong, obviously HF will be formed, right? HF is formed. Xenon, poor soul, was left behind, poor soul left behind. Oxygen, poor soul left behind, poor soul left behind. But well, now these two thinking that they are developing a bond very strong. So why don't we also develop a bond between ourselves? So they also form a compound, that is XeO3. And do remember that this was a very explosive friendship. The compound XeO3, this is an explosive compound. Okay, next we move on to XeF6. Now fluorine is again more in concentration. So the bond between hydrogen and fluorine, this is really, really very strong. Xenon and oxygen do not have any hope that they will be coming back. So they also forget living together separately, and they also form a very strong bond between themselves. An explosive bond, XeO3 and HF are only the 2 products now that are left. Okay, so I hope now this is easy. So first of all, we have hydrogen and fluorine forming HF, xenon and oxygen left behind. Okay, and then xenon and oxygen also start developing a friendship. They also form a bond, XeO3, and when they see that there is no hope of HF breaking up their bonds, and then they also form a very strong bond, so they also stop living separately. Okay, so it is XeO3 and HF. Perfectly fine. You will remember the products now. Okay. Now the next trick we have is for the partial hydrolysis of XeF6. Again, a very important reaction asked in the examination. Okay, so if you look at this reaction, XeF6 plus 3H2O forming XeO3 and HF, the third reaction that we learned. Okay, so here you can see that XeF6, this is combining with 3 moles of water. Okay, but if in the examination it is asked that what will be the product formed when XeF6 is reacting with just 1 mole of water, or if it was going to be reacting with just 2 moles of water, what will be the product form. So you have to learn step by step, 1 mole adding up of water and the products that are going to be formed. And again, this is going to be very easy with the trick I'm going to be telling you. Okay, so let us see now. So the first reaction is XeF6 plus H2O. So here what you have to remember is how many hydrogens we have? 2. How many fluorines will it combine with? 2. So what will be the product form? It will be 2HF. Okay, and once 2HF they have gone, what is going to be left behind? One is going to be xenon. Okay, if I write over here, it is going to be xenon. From fluorine, it is going to be 4 fluorines that will be left, and here from oxygen, water, it will be oxygen. So what you have to simply do is just combine all of this and make a compound XeOF4. Easy. Next, we move on to adding up of the second molecule of water. Okay, so now second molecule of water, what we have is, just let me clear it up. Okay, so second water molecule we had, what is the compound that we had? XeOF4. Now it is XeOF4 which is combining with water. Again, we have 2 hydrogen atoms. They will be combining with 2 fluorine atoms to form again 2HF. Okay, and then what will be left behind? You are just going to add up and write it as the next molecule. XeO, this is the other O, so XeO2, and from fluorine, 2 fluorines gone, so 2 fluorines will be left behind. XeO2F2 is the product that will be formed. Okay, so if now it is asked to you in the examination, when 1 mole is going to be formed reacting, what will be the compound form? XeOF4. When 2 moles will be reacting, what will be the product that will be formed? This and this will be cancelling off. So XeF6 plus 2H2O will be giving us 4HF and XeO2F2. And then we will be adding the next mole of water. It will be XeO2F2 that will be reacting with this water. Again, 2 hydrogen, 2 fluorine going off. What will be left behind is XeO2 and this one oxygen, so XeO3. Okay, so very easy, not at all difficult. So the overall reaction, you can now check it also, is going to be just the same that we have written on the top, XeF6 plus 3H2O forming 6HF and XeO3. Okay, so these are very important reactions, very frequently come in the examination, and now we have learned them so very easily that you will not forget them till your examination. Good, great. Now the next reactions we have is xenon fluorides with other fluorides, and these are the last reactions which are given in the NCERT textbook for xenon compounds. We have learned them so very easily. Okay, so we are going to see over here 2 types of reactions. One is going to be the reaction of a xenon fluoride with MF, where this MF is an alkali metal fluoride. So this can be potassium, it can be sodium, cesium, rubidium, any of the alkali metal fluoride reacting with a xenon fluoride, and a compound A is formed. And the next is going to be when xenon fluoride again will be given to you, but this will be reacting with MF5, where MF5 is a covalent pentafluoride. For example, it can be ASF5, SBF5, PF5. So it will be reacting with a covalent pentafluoride, and you have to tell again what is the product that is formed. Okay, so you just have to identify that what is the fluoride that is reacting with xenon fluoride. Either it is a alkali metal fluoride or it is a covalent pentafluoride. Okay, once you have done that, well, if it is a alkali metal fluoride, here we will be having M positive, the alkali metal cation. Okay, so here xenon fluoride will be acting as a fluoride acceptor. Okay, so it will be accepting F negative from the alkali metal fluoride. Okay, so when it is going to accept F negative from this alkali metal fluoride, what will be left behind from the alkali metal fluoride? M positive. If it has accepted F negative, what it will be forming? XeF4 plus F negative is going to be XeF5 negative. Okay, supposedly if it is XeF6, then it would be what? M positive, XeF7 negative. Okay, so this is what you have to do. Whatever is the xenon fluoride over here, just add a fluoride ion to it and delete it from here. Easy enough, no difficulty in writing the product. Great. So you're learning so many reactions with so simple tricks, right? Okay, Now the next we have is when the reaction is with a covalent pentafluoride now. So here the trick is that you have to just remember that here now fluoride is the xenon fluoride is going to be acting as a fluoride donor. Okay, so now it will be donating F negative. So it will be adding up to the covalent pentafluoride. So if it is XeF2, then it will be losing F negative. What it will be is XeF positive. And here it is gaining this F negative, so it is going to be AsF6 negative. Okay, if I have XeF4 now and react this with PF5, what will be the product form? This is going to be losing is F negative, it will be donating F negative. So what will be left behind is XeF3 positive, and this will be forming PF6 negative. Easy enough, no difficulty. You do not have to mug up these reactions. Just remember, when it is alkali metal fluoride, it is a fluoride acceptor, and when it is going to be a covalent pentafluoride, it will be acting as a fluoride donor, and the product is very clear. Okay, so these are all the tricks that we have for xenon reactions, which are given in the NCERT textbook. Next, we move on to the structures for the xenon compounds now. So the structures for the xenon compounds, you can be asked for any of these fluorides, XeF2, XeF4, XeF6, XeO3, XeOF4, XeO2F2. So all these compounds, they can be asked to you. You can be asked to draw these structures in your board examination. You can be asked to choose the correct structure in the competitive examination. You can be asked the hybridization of the central atom. You can be asked how many lone pairs, how many sigma bonds, how many pi bonds are being formed by the central atom. So these are the various types of questions which can come in the examination. And for that, well, obviously, what is very much important for you people is that you have the understanding of the chemical bonding lectures. You have an understanding of the VSEPR theory. You have an understanding of the hybridization. Okay, and well, I have already put up a detailed course on chemical bonding. 41 lectures are there over there. If you have any doubt related to chemical bonding concepts, please do watch that playlist. Have a thorough understanding, because chemical bonding is one topic which is very much important as a topic itself as well. It is going to be very important for the whole of inorganic and also for organic chemistry. Okay. Now, having said this, but this is the lecture where I'm just talking about tricks. So the trick I'm going to give you to draw all these structures very easily, and the trick is going to be finding the shape of the molecules with the help of the steric number. Okay, so now what is steric number? It is the number of atoms bonded to the central atom of a molecule plus how many lone pairs they are attached to the central atom. So this is steric number, and this helps us in the VSEPR theory to determine the molecular geometry of the molecule. Right. So how are we going to use the steric number? First, we will be calculating the steric number, and for that I am giving you one trick over here. In my lectures on chemical bonding, I have given two tricks. Okay, so this is trick number 1, and there is one more trick in a lecture, trick 2, hybridization. If you want to know the second trick, you can watch that lecture. Okay, so we have steric number to be equal to n by 8, which will be equal to q plus r by 2. Now what is n, q and r? Let us understand this. First of all, what is n? So n is going to be the total number of valence shell electrons of all atoms plus the number of negative charges minus the number of positive charges. Negative charges will be when we have an anion, and positive charges will be when we have a cation. Okay, so if it is going to be anion cation, you will be doing. If it is going to be a neutral molecule, you just have to see how many atoms present, just total the number of valence electrons for all the atoms. Here the value of n cannot be odd. Just remember this. If it is odd, then you will have to use my second trick, which is given in tricks to hybridization in my playlist on chemical bonding. Okay. Now, once you have found out n, what you're going to do is divide this n by 8. When you're going to divide it by 8, you will be getting one question and a remainder. Okay. Now, whatever is the question, this will be giving you the number of sigma bond pairs. Okay. And then what is going to be the remainder is going to be the number of unshared electrons on the central atom, and if you divide that by 2, what you will be getting is the lone pair of electrons on the central atom. So what you're going to do is sum up this Q and R by 2. This will give you the steric number. Okay, now if the steric number is 2, the hybridization is going to be sp. If the steric number is 3, the hybridization is going to be sp2. If the steric number is going to be 4, it will be sp3. If it is going to be 5, it will be sp3d. If it is 6, it will be sp3d2. If it is going to be 7, it will be sp3d3. Okay, and correspondingly for all these hybridizations, when it is all bonded pairs, we have geometry, right? And if it is going to be lone pairs present, the geometry will be the same, but the shape of the molecules will be different. So if you watch that lecture, it is a summation of all these things which is given in total over there. You can watch that lecture. I will be taking one example of a xenon compound, draw the structure for that, and the rest I will leave it up to you to practice for yourself. Okay. So for example, the calculation of the steric number for XeOF4 is being done for you people. Okay, so we have to find out first of all steric number from that hybridization, and then for the geometry and the shape of the molecule. Right. So steric number, how we are going to calculate? First of all, you have to calculate N. So xenon is going to be 8 valence electrons, oxygen is 6 valence electrons, fluorine is 7, but there are 4 atoms, so 4 into 7. So if you are going to sum it up, it will be coming up as 42. Right, 42, divide that by 8. The question that you will be getting is 5. So 5 8s are 40. The remainder is going to be 2. Divide that by 2. So you will be getting R by 2 to be 1. So 1 plus 5 is going to give us the steric number as 6. Right, and therefore the corresponding hybridization going to be sp3d2. So you will be saying 6 orbitals which will be hybridized. Okay, now so according to this hybridization, the shape of the the geometry of the molecule, this has to be octahedral. There will be 4 atoms which will be lying in one plane, and 2 atoms which will be going one above and one below on the axial axis. Okay, so this is going to be square planar, and on the one above a pyramid, one below pyramid, so it is going to be square bipyramidal, which looks like an octahedral, so we call it as an octahedral geometry, which you will be seeing even for XeO2F4, so that will be. But in this case, well, we have one lone pair, so when one lone pair is going to be present, that changes the shape of the molecule. Okay, so the shape is in accordance with where the position of the atoms is. So if you look at now the shape of the molecule, well, here there is one bond which is being replaced by a lone pair, so you cannot see anything over here in the shape. Okay, the geometry remains the same, it will be octahedral geometry, but now the shape will become a square and a pyramid on it, so square pyramidal shape. Okay, so XeOF4, this has a square pyramidal shape, octahedral geometry. sp3d2 hybridization, it has one lone pair of electrons, and it has how many sigma bonds? It is going to be having 5 sigma bonds. But here what you have to remember is when we have xenon, it has 8 valence electrons. Okay, if it has 8 valence electrons, 5 are utilized in sigma bond formation, 2 are lone pairs, so 5 plus 2 is 7, so one bond is still left behind. One electron is going to make one more bond, and that it will be making with oxygen a double bond. Okay, so this is how you come up to the correct shape of XeOF4. 5 sigma bonds, 1 pi bond, and 1 lone pair. Perfectly clear? Good. So now let us look at the fluorides of xenon, XeF2, XeF4, and XeF6. I have drawn all the structures for you. The shape is going to be linear for XeF2, XeF4 is going to be square planar, XeF6 is going to be distorted octahedral. So I would like you all to find out the steric number by the formula that I have told you, find out the hybridization, the geometry, and the shape of the molecules yourself. And one question which I am leaving out for you is going to be finding out the hybridization of XeO3 and finding the number of sigma bonds and pi bonds which are going to be formed by xenon. And I would want you all to put your answer in the comment section so that I also come to know how much you have gained from this lecture. So that would be all for this lecture. I hope you enjoyed your learning with me. You have learned so many tricks and so many reactions. And there are going to be more tricks, more concepts and more questions coming up from us for your JEE and NEET preparation. So that you do not miss anything, please do subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon so that you get the notification the moment we put up the next lecture for you. If you're liking our lectures, please do click on the like link and also do share it with your friends. And one very important thing, if you are having any doubts, put them in the comment section. If you cannot put them in the comment section, you can always mail them us to h2ochemistry@gmail.com. We will be very glad to help you people so that you can perform very well in your examination. So see you again. Enjoy your learning. Bye bye.